Hello everyone and welcome back to day 11 of our F125 Hot Lap and Setup series. Yes, today we return here to the Red Bull Ring and the Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, if you're new to this series, basically what I do is I show you a race setup, yes, race setup inside F125. I talk you through the circuit and then I provide you with a hot lap right at the end of the video. As always, timestamps will be linked down below if you just want to head to a certain part. A massive thank you to everybody for the continued support on this series as well. You know, you guys have been commenting on the videos, telling me I need to do more of these. I am trying to get them out daily as best as I can, but of course I got a lot of other bits and pieces in the works as well at the moment. Now, Austria, the shortest track on the calendar in terms of lap time, but yeah, not many corners around here either, so it's very, very easy to kind of lose time. Not very easy to make it back up, is what I've found in my experience. The AI are very good here, tyre wear is very high inside F125 as well, but we'll talk about that more towards the end of the video. As always, if you're new, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 15k subs here on the channel, and yeah, let's do this thing. Well, making our way then out of the final corner. Like I said, only really, well, 9 corners, I like to say, around this track. F1 likes to claim there's 10, but one of them really isn't a corner in a modern-day Formula 1 car. You're going to be all the way up in 8th gear as you make your way down in towards turn 1. I try and get the outside wheel just wedged kind of over the curbing here. It opens up the track. It's something you want to do a lot around this circuit, but is, you know, just buys you a little bit more time. From 8th gear, you want to be braking just after the 100-meter board, ready for turn 1, all the way down into 3rd gear. You can use 4th in qualifying trim, but you've got to be very, very confident that you're going to get the car nailed. Try to get over the inside curbing just a little bit, but be very, very careful on the throttle. That little yellow sausage curb there is lethal inside F125. If you hit that, you're pretty much on a one-way ticket to the inside wall. So be very, very careful. Make sure you've got the car square on the exit. Short shift up into 4th gear, and then get the power down in one nice smooth motion. Activate the DRS, and then we're going to be making our way up in towards turn 2. Of course, the very steep climb through turn 2 and into turn 3. Of course, this is F1, so we don't need to do the MotoGP chicane as we make our way up the hill. All the way up, though, once again, into 8th gear. And again, I like to try and get the 2 wheels over the curbing there. You want to be looking just after the 100-meter board, ready for turn 3. So I like to brake from about 90 meters out, all the way down in towards 2nd gear there, but be very, very careful on your turn-in, otherwise the back end will rotate round on you. One nice smooth motion again, and then get on the throttle as early as you can. Short shift up through 3rd and 4th gear if you're struggling for wheel spin, and again on the DRS zone for the 3rd time on this lap. Again, you want to take the line of least resistance down in towards turn 4, but unlike the first 3 corners, I don't like to get the wheels over the outside curbing here. I like to keep them on the track, don't even use the curb on the outside, otherwise it just unsettles the car under braking in towards this next corner. Again though, you're braking just after the 100-meter board, down the hill from 8th gear all the way into 3rd. In race trim, you might want to use 2nd, depending on how well you're finding the tyres are. Take a little bit of curb on the inside there, but not too much. And then you want to be really, really careful. Just as you get over this bump right here, then you want to go full throttle. You can obviously feather the throttle beforehand, but I like to short shift up into 4th and then get full throttle right as you go over that little bump. Otherwise, you find that the back end can get quite unstable, and it can really, really upset the balance of the car as well. Arc the car back over to the right-hand side, though, as we make our way down the hill. You're going to be all the way up in 7th gear, hug the right-hand side of the circuit, and now you're going to be heading into our only left-handers, or 2 of our only left-handers of the lap. Down into 5th, through the first one. Again, you want to just try and hug the apex, but don't actually use the curb, otherwise you're going to be going for a spin. It's really unforgiving inside F125. Get the car wedged over this exit curb, back up into 6th gear. Again, in qualifying, completely flat out this next corner. But in race trim, you're going to be going back down to 5th once more. And really, again, just trying to get as close to without hitting that inside curb. In towards the final few corners then of the lap. Again, get the car nice and square. Get full throttle on the exit. You really want to try and lean on this curb as well, just to open up the track width as best as you can. All the way up into 7th gear as you prepare yourself for the final 2 corners. These are the ones where it is so easy to invalidate your lap time. You want to go over the hill, over all the bumps, turning in just as you go past the 50-meter board. Again, in race trim, down 1 gear. In qualifying, completely flat out. This penultimate corner. Keep the car back over on the left-hand side. Make sure to get it over the curbing. Down 1 more gear through the final corner. And there we go then. That is going to be a lap of the Austrian Grand Prix circuit. Like I said, one of the shortest on the calendar. The shortest in terms of lap time. It is high pace. It is high risk, high reward around here. But it is so satisfying when you get it all hooked up. It's one of those circuits, though, that I find is really easy to learn, but difficult to master. You do still need to put the laps in around here to really be able to try and maximise the time that you're able to get out of the car as well. I found that the time trial setups here are way more unrealistic than anywhere else on the calendar. People are running like 50, 45 wing for some reason. But in race trim, you're just going to be a sitting duck on the straights, and you do not want that. Let's head, though, back to the garage, and I'll talk you guys through the setup. Well, here we are then, back in pit lane. As you can see there, we are about just over a second away from the top times. Like I said, it looks like the kind of time trial setups here are very, very inaccurate to what you would expect to see. A few tenths away from GB, but I'm not going to complain about that one too much. Taking a look, though, at our setup, as you can see, first of all, 35-29 wing. It allows you to take that penultimate corner flat out, like I said, and obviously turn 5 as well, but only in qualifying trim. In race trim, like I said, you're going to be down a gear, but otherwise you're going to shred the tyres to pieces anyway. So 35-29 is just a decent balance that I found works for me. Again, if you're struggling through the corners, I would up this to about 38-32, or if you want a bit more straight line speed, I would go down to about 26-30, but I wouldn't risk going much lower than that. 85-30 on the diff, again, fairly standard for what we've seen on this game. There are quite a few big important traction zones around this circuit, so you just want a car that, again, can kind of fine grip, can hook up nicely off of the corners. Suspension geometry, pretty much the same, I think, as what we ran in Montreal last weekend. Minus 3.4, minus 1.9, 0.03, and 0.13 there for all of those angles. Again, it just helps with the tyre wear ever so slightly. You could run all minimums if you wanted, and you might be a little bit quicker over one lap, but your tyres are going to be absolutely screaming at you by the end of a stint. 39.3 for the front and rear suspension, and then 310 for the anti-roll bars. 24.50 for the ride height. Again, I would say you can run this a little bit higher if you're struggling. I would go up to about 26.53, but I wouldn't really go higher than that. Again, if you're finding that the curbs actually aren't that kind of unforgiving, you could bring this down to like 22.46 if you wanted to, and maybe just have a little bit more straight line speed. But again, turn 1, be warned, it'll absolutely punish you if you get it wrong. 55.98, again, a bit like Canada. I find myself locking the rear slightly, especially up into turn 3. So just bringing that brake bias 1% further forward just helps with that a little bit. And then 29.5 front pressures, 23.5 on the rear there. Again, helps look after the tyres a little bit more. It is a one-stop strategy here. You want to take the mediums, ideally 16 laps, and then the hards 20 laps to the end. But you can also try and do a two-stop instead of going 11, 14, medium, hard. It's not as quick, but I think you will find, if you've got a bit of a pace advantage over someone, it might make your race a whole lot easier. This place, though, can be notorious for safety cars as well, especially when league racing, so just be careful, because you never know what strategy might get thrown up. The big danger corner, though, like I said, turn 1, and then turn 6 and 7 as well, or turn 7 and 8, I suppose, around here as well. The final left-hander and the penultimate corner of the lap are the really, really tricky ones, but yeah, as always, I hope this setup helps you out. If it does, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed like I said in the intro. I'm going to leave you guys with a hot lap, and we'll be back tomorrow ready for the British Grand Prix.